Welcome to Long Story Long. I'm your host, Lisa Curry. Today's guest is the incredibly talented Emmy Award-winning actor, writer, improviser, Dwayne Colbert. You have seen him on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Superstore and a bunch of other stuff. This was such a fun conversation. I hadn't talked to Dwayne in a while, and there's so much about his story that I just didn't know. And you're going to find out in real time with me. I think you're going to love it. Here you go. Hey, Dwayne, how are you?
I'm good, Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. It's so good to see you. It's thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Feels like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know.
I see you online. I try to keep up and all that, and you're very funny online and everything.
Oh, thanks.
But I haven't seen your face, like with moving images of your face.
Yeah, it's. It's been too long. I mean, COVID just added an extra year to everything, too, which feels like artificial time.
Right. It's just like we're all in this like weird stasis or something. Now we're just back to.
Yeah. I mean, but some people have been like just straight up crushing it during COVID, which I'm like, you have no business doing that. Stop it.
I feel a little guilty because pandemic was kind of my bitch. Yes.
You should feel guilty. You should absolutely feel guilty. Yeah. So I don't really know a lot about your path through your career. I mean, like, because we met at Second City, and so I know roughly from there on. But where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I'm from Los Angeles. I'm the unicorn.
No shit.
Yeah, from South Central LA. Born in Compton, raised in South Central. We even went to LA high school, just very generic. I had no interest in, entertainment whatsoever. Like even my high school, it was an old LA high before this huge earthquake, and then it was a new one, and there was a bridge in between the old and the new. And on that bridge, if you walk past it every day, a million times a day, right in the middle, if you stopped in the middle of that bridge between the two at my high school, you could see the best view of the Hollywood sign. And we just walk by it every day, go, oh, Hollywood. Like I never had any thoughts of Hollywood. Yeah.
That's so funny. Wait, so growing up, what did you think you were going to do for a career?
I was going to be like, what was it called? I don't even know the name of it anymore, but I was a math major in college, an actuary. Yeah, I was just going to like crunch some numbers for some insurance company, and that was just going to be my deal. I always said artistic. I know, that's right. Such a change, right?
That sounds so boring, I have to say.
Well, saying it out loud now, it sounds super boring. But at the time, I was like, oh man, this is going to be the best job ever. Because I just didn't know. And I know that sounds strange for me not to know, but I didn't know that you could have a whole like career in the arts. Like I grew up as a visual artist. I was drawing all the time. But my parents were like, yeah, that's a great hobby, but what do you do for money? So I knew I was good at math. So I was like, well, I'll just go for that. And then as soon as I got to college, I saw these people like art majors. And so I was like, I can like draw better than them though. So I started pursuing art at that point. Yeah. I just started taking, drawing classes and whatnot, and worked my way through up to being storyboard artist for some freelance work in animation. I just really loved animation. Yeah. I remember working one time for an internet company, and I just like started looking up animation, how, companies and production companies and networks and whatnot, because I just loved it so much. This is after college and everything. I was just like working stiff, and just still had dreams of something beyond my education. So I just started, Googling animation production companies and networks, and they all sent me packets on how to do what they do, like where to go to school.
So cool.
Yeah, what class to take. So at the time, there were classes being offered by the Animation Guild, their union, and they had full-on program from beginning of how to draw something all the way to production stuff. So I started taking classes there while also being an intern at a small animation house, and just kind of worked my way up from there.
That's so cool. I had no clue that you had a background in animation.
Yeah, before I even came to Second City, like I came to Second City because I was working at Nickelodeon as a writer and just doing freelance work at that point. I had been in the writing program for like a year. And then after the program ended, I kept getting freelance writing work. But then the work kind of dried up. So my buddy of mine was like, oh, maybe you got a little complacent in your writing. Maybe take an improv class. And I had never acted before. And I was like, well, I kind of know what improv is. I've heard of it. So I Googled the word improv, and Second City, Hollywood came up. I was like, well, that's near here. Hollywood's not far away from where I live. So then, later on did I learn about the history and whatnot of improv in Second City and all that. But I was just going there to become a better writer. And then I just started acting.
Oh, that's so interesting. What was your time at Nickelodeon like?
I was great. I mean, my intro to them was as a PA. I had done some work on the artistic side, like I was saying, as a storyboard artist, and then even that work started to dry up. But I just liked animation, wanted to be around it, so I took a job as a PA. And a buddy of mine who was a board artist and knew I was a board artist said, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just working as a PA, bro. I love it." And he was like, "Yeah, but you're wasting a lot of talent, a lot of skill set that you put into." He said,
Yeah, that's
a storyboard artist. Go ahead.
that's so funny because it's such a big step back, and you're just like, I don't know, I'm having a good time, whatever.
Yeah, I really, I just liked the process, coming from, because I started off as like a runner, just like running packages. No, I was an intern first, and then I graduated to being a runner. And then I became an in-house PA where I wasn't like always on the street. I was like in production. And then from there, I became a production coordinator, just because I just like being around it. And then I started pursuing the artistic side after I moved up to production coordinator. So this is like at a different, place. So I'm back at Nick, doing PA work. My buddy was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, a storyboard artist is like a writer with a pencil. He's an actor with a pencil. He's a director, cinematographer with a pencil. You have a lot of skills that you're kind of wasting pushing pencils. So I was like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." I still love it. And he was like, "Well, look, there's a writing program here. At least submit a script for that. You're better than this." I was like, "Okay." So I had never written a script before. Didn't know how scripts work. Well, I mean, I knew kind of, I guess. No, maybe I had written. No, at that point I hadn't even read a script before. But I started like watching sitcoms that were in reruns, and I would just like take notes. I don't even know what those notes were. Like, "Oh, he made a joke here." But I did that for a week, maybe a week and a half, and then I said, "Well, I'm just going to write a script based on what I think I know about scripts from watching television."
Yeah.
And I wrote a spec Bernie Mac show, and I got in the writing program at Nickelodeon. And then that was awesome. A year-long program. It was amazing at the time. It was a year-long program, got lots of work, even freelance work while I was in the program. So I got paid for the program as well as doing production work. And that led me again to taking improv.
That's cool. So it was a year-long. And are they like, how hands-on is this? Is this like a 5-day-a-week thing?
It was very hands-on. It was 5 days a week. It's a lot different now, the writing program at Nickelodeon. I actually teach sketch for a week and a half during the writing program for the last 4 years through Second City.
Oh, that's so cool.
City, I connected the two entities. I still had friends who were running the program. My friend Karen Kirkland was running. She no longer runs the writing program, but she was running the writing program when we started our diversity and comedy festival at Second City. So we were looking for a sponsorship, and I was just meeting with Karen about something else entirely. We were just shooting the breeze because we're friends. And then I mentioned DCF to her, the Diversity and Comedy Festival, and she asked what that was about. I told her what it was about. She's like, "Oh, we have our writing program folks take improv at UCB. Maybe we should have them take it at Second City." I was like, "Whoa, no, I don't want to come in and undercut what UCB's got going. I got friends there. I've taken classes there too. I enjoy UCB." She was like, "Okay, well then maybe we'll have them do improv at UCB, and we'll have them do sketch writing at Second City." I was like, "Oh yeah, sounds great.
That's a good split."
Yeah. So I've been teaching sketch writing during one small portion of their year-long program in the writing program at Nickelodeon. And I just finished it up maybe like 2 weeks ago for this current year, for like the last 4 years or so. So it was great to actually start off in their writing program back in the day, and then end up coming back to it as a teacher later. It was really great.
Yeah. That's such a satisfying full circle thing where you get to continue on with it. So when you started Second City and you started improv, did you have any interest in acting at this point? Did you think like, "Oh, maybe I could do this also," or it was like strictly to improve your writing?
It was definitely strictly to improve my writing. I remember Josh Funk, who's the artistic director there. I hope he still is because he's pretty awesome. He was my first improv teacher, and I remember him. You run a bunch of tell you what improv is. You get up 2 people at a time. So I remember him.
And you're like humiliated, just nonstop.
Well, yeah, a lot of that. But it was a lot of me being a writer. Like, hey. Sister of mine in this home that our parents built for us, starting the scenes out with just way too much exposition, trying to take control of the narrative. So it got to the point where Josh Funk would say, "All right, now 2 people up for this next scene." I would leap up because I'm eager beaver or whatever. And no one wanted to get up with me. It would take a minute or two where people are looking around him and Han, and then they get up. I was like, "Ooh, I must really fucking suck." So I took that one intro class, and then I was like, "That's it for me. Improv is not my thing. I'm not an actor. I came here because I wanted to improve my writing." So Josh Funk was like, "Hey man, no, you should stay in the improv program because, at the time, it was different than it is now, the improv scene in LA. But at the time, this was true where you said there aren't a lot of Black improvisers. Yeah. You would do great. I really see something in you." And I was like, "No, I'm cool. Deuces." Because I knew they had a sketch writing program. So instead of taking more improv, I just got into the sketch writing program, which was another year-long program, and it culminated in a show, a sketch show. So after that year-long program of their sketch program, the director they assigned me with for our show was Josh Funk. So I was like, oh, he was like this guy.
Yeah.
So he was just a teacher there at the moment. He wasn't an artistic director. We did our show, and I saw him work with the actors and whatnot. So at our graduation ceremony for sketch, they're handing out our T-shirts and a little certificate. He calls me up and he's like, in front of everyone, he goes, and this guy should stay for our improv program. So I was like, wow, he put me on blast. Plus they just named him artistic director that day. So he was the new artistic director. I'd seen it before as an instructor. He put me on blast in a way where it was kind of encouraging and funny at the same time. So in that moment, I was like, yeah, I will stay for your improv program. So I got back into improv at that point and then stayed with it.
And then you were like, oh, okay, this is, at that point, like, once you got back into improv, did you have the itch to do more performing then?
No, I don't think I even called myself an actor, even after going through, they have like.
Do you now?
I do now,
tell me
for
you
sure.
do now. Okay.
Oh, for sure. I lead with that. Are you kidding me? But at the time, it was like, they had like a few classes you can take just for anyone who's got money to pay for it. After that, you have to audition for their conservatory. And then, so I did all the classes before you have to audition. I auditioned for the conservatory, got in, did that year and a half long program, however long it is. And then I got auditioned for, at the time, to tour on this cruise ships with Second City and got that. Yeah. So I was on the cruise ships, touring with Second City, doing sketching and improv around the world. And then I saw, we rarely got television. If we did, it was very grainy. So I was watching television one day on the ship and I was barely watching it. And I saw commercials with a couple of my instructors like Mary Beth Monroe and Dan Backnell in commercials. And I was like, oh shit. Like the first time I'd seen people I know like on television, I was like,
that's so funny. Dwayne, this is so hilarious to me because I just recorded an episode with another friend of mine, Julia Prescott, who's also in animation. She's a writer, an animation writer. And she grew up in Los Angeles in the Valley. And she's like, oh yeah, since I was a baby, like all of my friends were on TV and stuff. And so it's funny to hear, just such a different experience growing up in the same area. And where you're like,
no aspirations of Hollywood.
It seems like it was occurring to you that you could be on TV at like the same rate it was occurring to me. And I grew up like in the woods in Indiana,
Yeah, it's just like Hollywood. I might as well have come from some other place other than having, family support around me. If I needed a meal, I could go to an aunt or a cousin or something like that. But it felt like because I had no connection to Hollywood, before writing, because writing wasn't kind of, and that came from animation. I loved animation. I explained that led to writing, and then the writer led to acting kind of thing. So it was just one of those things where I never even thought about it. It was kind of dawning on me as it happened. So that was a big deal to see instructors, because I was like, oh, I did hear right before I got on the ship. A buddy of mine was like, hey, I want to do this video. It's one line. The line's kind of racist, but would you be willing to do it? I was like, well, let me read it first. So I read that.
You're like, I'm going to.
Maybe, yeah. And this is like,
so
this is back like 10 years ago. This is like, YouTube was starting to be a big thing.
Yeah, and he's like, would you like to say something racist for the internet? And you're like, I
was like, maybe. So I read it and I was like, this is not racist at all. This is very funny. So I just had one line at the end of a video, and then he showed it to his agent. His agent was like, this video is terrible. This is like awful. Don't put this up. But he was like, who's that guy though? He said that guy at the end, that was really funny. And I was like, it's just one line. But so the agent called me in. He was a commercial agent, and he was like, hey man, I was telling him like, I'm an improviser. He was like, well, improv is great for commercial acting. Yeah. I was like, oh, awesome. So we had a couple of meetings. They ended up signing me right as I was going off to tour on the ships. So I was like, hey man, you can sign me if you want, but I'm going to be gone for like,
Yeah. How long are the ship? Like how long would you go out on the ship? Just
there were 3-month tours. They call them contracts, so 3-month contracts at a time.
Did you feel when you went out? Did you feel like completely disconnected from LA and entertainment and stuff? Yeah, you
feel almost disconnected from the world until you hit a port, and then you're like, oh yeah, the world. Out at sea is just like ship life. It's just a whole different world. Everything about it, because the ship is like your house. It's like your living room. Your bedroom and your entertainment room. So people who every week there was a different cruise. We start off in Seattle, 3 stops in Alaska, and then the last stop was in Canada. So every week we were seeing different archetypes of people. We literally saw patterns. We're like, oh, we're going to get the blue hairs that are taking too long down the hallway when I'm just trying to get past the buffet and go back to our room. We're going to get the kid who's, I know this sounds terrible, but usually it was a kid who was you could tell was kind of on the Asperger's or some sort of spectrum that would be more than willing to come up and be a volunteer. So we were like, well, let's look for that kid because those people are going to be willing to participate and keep the show going. There's going to be, so we had all these archetypes that we kept seeing cruise after cruise after cruise. It felt like Groundhog's Day for real. Like, holy crap, this is all the same.
It's so wild how there's carbon copies of people just everywhere.
Everywhere. We have no idea how much we're all doing the same shit.
The
same thing.
Do you think though that makes it, that's such an interesting study of humanity, but I think that makes you such a better performer because you're having to like work. Not when you're seeing all the different groups of people, because there's certainly people that that we see in entertainment that like play to one group specifically constantly, and that's and no shade, but I think it makes you more dynamic to like, now you have to make somebody's grandma laugh. Now you have to make
it literally made me
laugh.
An actor. Like after that cruise ship experience, I call myself an actor because we're doing improv. We had a sketch show that was a weekly sketch show. That's already like archive material plus maybe one or two original pieces that the director put in for us. That ran maybe once or twice a week, something like that. But that was a big show. That was like you become ship famous once you do that show. And then we also had our improv
What's
set.
ship famous like? I need to know.
Is like if you do the show early in the that cruise that week, right? Like if say it's Monday through Sunday, if you do it on Tuesday, the rest of the time you're on the ship, you cannot go anywhere without being recognized. But if it's like late, like on a Friday, that's great because you only got 2 days to be ship famous. Where everywhere you go, anywhere you go, people are like, oh my God, it's not just us at Second City. It was like any kind of entertainer.
Yeah, ship famous sounds like a nightmare because you're trapped on a boat with these people.
Exactly, and you get archetypes. People will either do the what I call the walk by, or they walk by and be like, they're not even make eye contact. Sometimes they just be like, you're funny, and keep walking. Or be like, the dad joke guy who's like, take it or leave it. You can have it if you want, but here's the joke that I always use that works. That person.
Oh my God, those it kills me because those guys they're like, they walk to you with such confidence, like,
oh yeah, they step into you like
original, and then they give you a straight up street joke, and you're like, sir, I've heard this 400 times.
Exactly, like this is even a bad version of the joke. You know what I mean?
They don't even remember the words in the right order. They're like, it's something about, and you're like, please stop.
And the significant other is there just like pulling the person like, come on, stop it, don't do this to them. So that was interesting, and it definitely made me an actor because again we did improv in the round. So this is a loungy type area where everyone's, we had what they called a family show where you can invite anyone. And then they had a adult show. They built it as an adult show. But people on a cruise ship, they're going to show up fucking hammered. So our adult show in the round, we'd get things like, ask for a suggestion for a game we're about to play. And they would yell out, this is a while ago, and I'll date myself for what they would yell out, but they'd be like, hang Obama. So I had to take the suggestion of like, hang Obama and show them in a professional manner what we can do with that. So I would be like, great, we'll go ahead and take hang Obama from the gentleman sitting all alone in the back with the white hood on. And then we go and so, you just kind of like take control, like you would do a heckler, and then go ahead and show them what we can do with hang Obama. Show them how we can freak the technique and make it satirical in a way that blew their fucking minds. So you're right. Everyone, I could entertain anyone from someone's grandmother all the way to, a 5-year-old child, and still kind of make a funny show overall. So it definitely made me an actor. I came out of that thinking, oh, I'm been battle tested big time. Yeah,
I love also the idea that like you're actively getting paid to act, and it wasn't until it was completed that you're like, all right, I suppose I'm an actor. Like,
well, even that kinda. Because when I came back, remember I had an agent right before I left, a commercial agent. That was the only representation I had. I came back and I auditioned for 11 months without booking anything, and right to the point where they said, "Yeah, we want you to take a class." I was like, "Cool, I'll take a class." So I signed up for a class. I went one class session and then booked my first national, and then that's when I called myself an actor.
Damn.
Yeah, and it was fucking dope too.
Wild. What was your first national?
It was for Florida orange juice. They flew us to Florida to shoot it. Like we don't have oranges here in California. But they flew us to Florida to shoot it. And all the other people in the commercial, except for me, who were principals, were all veterans. I'm talking about like commercial and acting veterans. So it was great that I was a newbie. We stayed in like the Blue Fontaine in Miami Beach. It was just like, we had like a few nights. We had a couple nights of bond before we even shot the thing. So we were just like clicking on all levels. I made friends there that I still talk to this day that were in the cast. It played forever. It was like the most money I had made off a commercial up until something recently that surpassed it. But it was like they cut it like maybe three or four different spots. It was amazing.
Oh my God. Was that that had to feel so incredible, especially the timing of like your agent's like, why don't you take a class? And you're like, okay. And you take one class and you fucking nail it.
Right. Well, it was crazy. Like my mom was in town, right? And she's like, look at the cupboard, look in the fridge, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I had jobs before I got hired with Second City where, although I was pursuing acting and whatnot, I still had a day job where I was working in computers in IT. So I had money before, but you know, when I came off the ship, they gave me a 6-month severance package before I got hired to Second City for my day job. So they were like, look, we come to your shows, you know, had office workers, co-workers that would come. They're like, we come to shows, we think you're awesome. The HR lady was like, take this money and go off and be great. So I got 6 months of severance as I got the ship. It was amazing. I saved all my money from the ship. It's like when I came back, I cashed in all my 401ks. It was like, no plan B. I'm an actor. Let's go all in, right? So it was getting pretty desperate where my mom was like, you're fucking destitute. What are you doing? Go. She gave me some money. It was like, go get some groceries. So when I'm going to get groceries, whatever, I wanted to call her and ask her something that was missing on the list. My phone died because I hadn't any money to pay the bill. So my phone's dead. I'm like broke as shit. So I'm getting in the car, like sweating. It was a hot day, feeling really low. And then my phone rings. I'm like, how the fuck is this ringing? It doesn't work or whatever. So I answered, it's my agent. And he was like, you booked that commercial. So I was like, holy crap, that was the first. Yeah. So I was like, it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
It was like the call was so good that whatever service you had just like powered up your phone. It was like a lightning bolt had struck it.
So that was really great though.
It's such a cliche, but so many people have those moments where it's you have nothing left.
Yeah, I was just pretty much at the lowest point. And you know, I didn't even see that it was a low point until my mom like pointed out like why are you starving? Why are you living this way? Like what's going on? Why would you want to pursue anything that would leave you this way? And I was thinking to myself, what are you talking about? This is great. I get to go out and pretend all day, you know. I didn't realize how much I appreciated and had I just feel like when I found improv, I found my nerds. You know, these are my nerds. Like I had no idea I was ever going to be an actor until I started acting. Like once I really got into improv and pushed past, you know, my horrible writing baggage that I brought with that acting, and actually studied acting outside of improv too. Once I did that, then I was like, oh, I should have always been doing this. But who knew?
Yeah.
You know, who knew?
Do you think it helped you because you are an excellent actor. Do you think that it helps you that this wasn't like a lifetime dream because you don't have all this extra pressure, like, you know, however many years of pressure like built up, like this has to work, you know, so it's just, you can be a little bit more loose?
I'd say my approach would be that it helped that I took comedy and improv first. I don't know if necessarily I would have, it might've been different. Yes. If I've been pursuing acting this whole time, but because I took comedy and improv first, I feel like it was a way of easing me into, pursuing this thing in a serious way, because it got to the point where in my improv, after coming back from the ship and touring and Second City loves me and everything, at one point they started their house teams and I was on a team at first or whatever. And I remember they're doing auditions again and I didn't make a team.
Yeah.
I was like, how the fuck did I not make a team? Like what? I was like pissed, Lisa. Like I was so upset. Yeah. That caused me to go take real acting or pursue acting like out of spite. Like, fuck this. I need to do, you know what it was? Not only not making that team, but I remember being on stage after that saying, having not made a team, I was doing an improv show and I was trying to do a move that I could tell in my heart of hearts, I'm just trying to be funny. And there was no reaction from the audience. So once I started taking acting, I was like, oh, I get it. I was up there thinking that's what improv was. And I was able to make it through only because I'm a really funny person, I think. But when it came time to like tried and true over the course of, you know, some time, you get your stage mileage in, you can't sustain, I'm just a funny person.
Yeah.
You need to have some ability to act and try to just evoke an emotional response, right? So once I started doing that, I was like, oh, it's not about trying to be funny at all. Yeah. At all.
Yeah. It's really just more about being truthful.
Absolutely. And I did not get, because I thought, oh, improv is funny. You're just supposed to be up there trying to be funny. Well, that worked for a while until shit got real. And then I was like, no, I'm a fucking actor. I need to pursue this. This needs to be like serious thing. So I think that maybe I would have, you know, I might have gotten further than where I am now. Who knows by this time? But I think everything that happened was supposed to happen. I liked the journey that I'm on. I liked how it started. I liked how people give me shit along the way. They can tell me what I'm not going to do. You're too old for this. You can't do that. And I'm just like, I don't care. This is all gravy anyway, man. I'm just having a good time. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
it is.
attitude helps.
It's so valuable to be able to put some of those voices out of your head because, and I tell this, whenever like if there's a younger comic like asking me for advice, I'm like, don't listen to, like, do whatever drives you and fuels you, and you can't listen to all this other, like, you're too old or whatever, because it's not true.
It's not
and true. We're all making this up.
Exactly.
This isn't fucking Congress, okay?
Right.
It's like people at agencies are literally just making up their job out of thin air. Like people at production companies are making up their job out of thin air. Like not just on the artist side. We're all just like, I don't know, maybe this will work, And I think some people may present that better, but ultimately we are just making up bullshit, you know?
I totally agree with everything you just said. That's absolutely right. Yeah, you just like, we're making it up. You have your journeys. Now, that being said, though, I do love hearing people's journeys. I love hearing how they got from point A to point B. And some things I do kind of try to take on and put into my own journey. And some things work, some things don't. But that's part of my journey, too, is trying things on and seeing what works and what doesn't. So I love hearing it, knowing that it won't be my journey.
Yeah, it is. I think that I feel very similarly where I'm like, oh, I love to hear people's journeys because they're all different. And also I think it helps me to not judge where I'm at, because I'm like, I'm doing, it's like the grass is always greener. It's like, well, so-and-so has this other credit that I wish I had, but then I have this credit that they might wish they had. So it all evens out.
Yeah. I think improv and sketch comedy community kind of helped me temper that, be it the jealousy or the competition part of it. Because when I first got into it, improv felt very competitive. I studied at all the places, Improv Olympic and Second City and UCB and the Groundlings and what used to be the Nerdist and the Ruby. I studied all over, and it did feel very competitive, and I didn't like that necessarily. I mean, I used it as fuel a little bit, wanting to be better than someone. But then I guess maybe it's maturity, or I don't know what it is. But at some point, I was just like, it doesn't have to be this way.
I think we just get tired.
I think so. It's probably that. Because it wasn't just me. It wasn't me who was saying we don't have to do that.
Yeah. It's also, I think, tough when you first get into improv because, like, at Second City, you'll see, like, you do your, not to minimize it, but, like, when you're first starting, you do your dumb little show with a group that was, like, thrown together, not by you. Right. And then they're like, come see a show in the theater. And you see, like, the 313 or Foursquare, and you're like, what the fuck? That's magic. What am I doing?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But you don't I think you don't realize immediately that, oh yeah, these people have been improvising together for 20 years. They share a brain now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's going on. Like we just started a week ago and I don't even know these people. So
right. Exactly.
I also love
it was just like very chill. Go ahead. I was just going to say the community though was very chill, and though I found others who felt the same way about not wanting to make it a competition more and lifting each other up. So all my friends now, we truly celebrate each other and offering each other advice or a resource, or I heard about this, it's not good for me, but it might be good for you. Those kind of things are a lot more of what I feel I experience now than when we started.
Yeah, same. I feel the same, and I feel like once I stopped thinking of gigs as like competition, I'm like, oh well, that it helps so much. And you start to see also people that are still in that mindset, and like as you grow and time moves on, you see them just kind of floundering by themselves because you need a whole system. We all do. Nobody's doing this on their. Also, like anyone that like claims that they're like, I did this all on my own. No, you didn't.
It's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
It takes the whole fucking city. Really You're out of your mind. Somebody recommended you for something. Somebody passed you for something. Like, there's always other people involved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I do love what you said earlier too about that the improv background really helped you with acting, because I feel that even with stand up, and I think that. Now I feel like I'm pretty confident that I could tell you whether or not somebody has an improv background just by watching them perform, because
I really do think so too. Yeah.
There's like a low level nervousness even if they haven't, because it's like for improvisers, it's like, okay, if
We don't
something,
give a shit. We failed so much. We've fallen on our face a million different ways. So we're like, who cares?
yeah, and it's like you've acted completely absurd in front of a room full of people. Oh, you think forgetting my line is gonna throw me? No, sir.
Hardly.
No, I've acted like a dog in front
I,
of my parents. So,
right, exactly. Lifted my leg and everything. But I take that with me to theatrical work, though. With commercials especially, but with theatrical too, I will improvise. I find myself doing it less with self tapes. I need to start doing that more. But I found myself, but when I was beginning, I would always improvise, just like tag something on or put something in it, not for the sake, just doing it for the sake of doing it, because I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But I would, in places where I felt it, I became the character, I would improvise places because I wanted them to know if they hired me, you're getting an improviser. With commercials, they want that, encourage that.
Yeah,
with theatrical,
absolutely.
less so. They like stick to the script for the most part. And I will stick to the script once if I get hired and they say, great, that's funny. But our words, I'll be like, no problem. Got your words. I will get you those. But every comedy, every network comedy or whatever, a big show I ever wanted to be on that I got on, I improvised during the audition. I improvised during the shoot, and it made it in. And I know that's not a big deal for anyone other than me, because I even tell my kids that. My boys are like, "Who gives a shit? Nobody." So what? That one line was yours. But for me, it's everything. It's everything.
Yeah, it's huge because it's something you created and they approved. It's a whole ass committee that's approving things, especially for commercials. It feels like it's, 75 people have to be like, yeah, no, that's the line we're going with.
Right. So. And when I improvise, I'm not doing it for the sake of doing it, because sometimes people are just saying, look how creative I am. It's not that. It's like, will it enhance the material? Will it make the character seem more real in this particular situation at this particular time? If not, I will stick to the words. But if I feel something in the moment, discoveries in the moment, I would, that's really what I got out of for my writing, out of learning improv and doing sketch too, is like discoveries in the moment. You can't get those sitting at your desk thinking you're awesome when you're writing. Yeah. So even if I have a written piece, we will still improvise every scene. If I bring it to a cast and plays that I put on Second City and whatnot, we will re-improvise every scene and look for discoveries. And I will write those down. Great. Thank you for that. We're using this. I love it. That kind of thing. Yeah.
That's essentially like how stand-up works. Like you do stand-up on stage and then you listen to your set and write a little bit and then you riff off of that. And I think it makes things more dynamic. And I think also you having the writing background and bringing that sensibility, I guess, into acting and into improvising is really valuable, because it's, how to be respectful of a writer's work.
Yeah.
Where I think some people come in and they riff and they go a little crazy and they're so far off that it's like, it can be disrespectful to the writer.
Yeah. Because it might be funny riff, but is it with the intention of the scene?
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. Totally. So at what point, you were saying like your parents were like initially thinking, what the hell are you doing? This is not stable. At what point did they finally get on board?
With like most critics, parents are big ones. It usually takes some wins for them to be on board. So even when I got hired for Second City, because they would come to shows before that, every now and then when they were in town. They don't live in Los Angeles anymore, but when they're in town, they would come see what I'm doing because I was so excited about it. So they knew I was acting on stage and whatnot. But I think it took me being hired by Second City for them to say, so your little hobby can pay you some money. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Somebody's giving you money for this. It's not us. So
Exactly. Well, the whole time I was pursuing improv and sketch, I had that day job I was telling you about. So, they knew that I had some sort of quote unquote stable, work kind of thing. So once I made the dive into that, they were thinking, then they took me seriously. But then again, remember I had the experience of my mom, coming and seeing the covers bear, and she was like, this is not for you. She like literally sat me down until I was telling her, yeah, but I just booked this national commercial. She was like, well, let's see how much that pays. And then once she saw me on TV and they see telling all their friends, like, I never heard those conversations again about, they stopped worrying about me and what was going to pay my bills, and not knowing that it doesn't, like, they don't have to get, I'm a grown ass adult. If I want to live like in, a pauper in order to pursue a passion, that's fine with them. Yeah. I guess they became okay with it because they saw with me that the gains I get, and that commercial wasn't paying all my bills or taking care of me for the rest of my life, but they saw how much it fueled me to continue the work that I was doing. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that it's also hard for them to see, like you were saying, you didn't even realize you were really struggling until your mom pointed it out, because it is so, when you are tapped into what you are really fueled by or what you were meant to do, which I know is like so corny to say, but like truly when you are on the path you're supposed to be on, I think that you don't notice things like that because you don't.
It's all fun.
Yeah. Because you're having a great time. That's the thing.
Literally.
I'm like, even if I'm like, you know, if I'm out of town doing a set and I'm crashing on somebody's couch, I'm like, do I want to sleep on a couch? I mean, that's not my first choice.
Right.
The stranger's couch is certainly not my first choice, but it's like that.
I get to do the set.
Yeah. If the trade-off is I get to do an hour and like have fun and make money, fuck yeah. I don't care. I'll sleep on their floor. I'll sleep outside. As a matter of fact, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I had the thought of like, okay, I really want to pursue this. At one point I had a conversation with myself where I was saying, if it all stops right here, if we get no further than one freaking national commercial, was it worth it? I had to tell myself, fuck yeah. Because I've been having just like doing bits with friends, doing stupid videos with friends. We're going over here talking about this writing thing we're going to do together. I mean, it's all fun and silly. And these are great, awesome people. Meeting people like yourself who are just like funny and awesome and at the top of their fucking game. Like, I don't care about like the end game. There is no end game. This is so fun. Great.
Well, it's like, can you imagine sitting in an office crunching numbers with like other number crunchers?
I would die. Like literally die.
You're like cracking jokes and they're like,
like, yeah, okay, but we have deadlines. I'll be like, the thing about deadlines is
you just get up fully, like start acting something out and they're like, please sit down.
Yeah, like I just came back this past a few days ago from spending a week in Alabama. My grandmother passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No problem. Thank you for saying that. She was really wonderful and we're really close. But I bring it up to say that while I was there though, being around family, whatever, I realized like I wasn't there trying to do bits or whatever. Like I didn't even grow up as being like the funniest kid, even within my family, but just being who I have been for the past decade though in Hollywood, it just kind of, seeps into your personality. So I'm there like making people just fucking lose it, just cracking up left and right. And I wasn't even trying to. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not like, these aren't made up jokes. I'm just like being me. Yeah. And I enjoyed the fact that I could reflect and say, oh, this is not me being quote unquote on. I'm not on all the time. I'm not one of those annoying people where you say you can tell they've taken improv sometimes. Yes. But I am someone who just like can make shit. Like my aunt said, you can make anything funny. I was like, maybe. I was like, what made me believe that I am a funny person though was when I make Mike Judge laugh. I was like, well, he's Beavis and Butthead. I can make that jaded motherfucker laugh. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can make almost anybody laugh. Which is like something I had no thoughts of. Even when I was writing for Nickelodeon, I wasn't walking around thinking I'm a funny person. I can make people laugh. I just thought I wanted to be a better writer. Now I truly
like, I can't wait to get that PA job. Is what you're thinking.
Right. I was thinking I need to make some copies and take that. But now walking around, I truly, even if it's not true, I truly take on the mantle of I'm having a good time. And if I wanted to, I could probably make you laugh because I'm a clown. I don't mind looking like an idiot because I've looked like an idiot and not gotten to laugh so much that who cares? Yeah,
totally. When you look back on your journey and like how I'm so fascinated with like how just one thing can unexpectedly lead to the next. Yeah. Is there something when you look back that like at the time either felt negative or felt insignificant that ended up putting you on a better path?
Yes. I would say that whole story I talked about with what led me to writing. I did not know I was going to be a writer. I really, really wanted to be a visual artist. Excuse me. So it wasn't just the industry. At the time, it was a little rough in animation. So a lot of people were losing jobs. So my competition trying to be a storyboard artist were other directors who had been doing it for decades or story timers who were just better than me and faster. So that let me know. I mean, that was hard. That was hard to say. I've been known as someone who drew my whole life. I've been trying to pursue it even as an adult now. I'm not good enough. These are world-class artists. I worked at Warner Brothers, Disney. I worked at all kinds of places. I worked on movies, television shows. They would give free classes at Disney. You can come there and learn how to draw better. And these people were just amazing.
They have free classes at Disney?
Oh, yeah. You could just like draw all day with like some of the masters all over the world who do figure drawing for free.
What?
They give you all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah. Because they
I've
want you to
never
be
heard
better.
of this.
It was amazing. But I had to realize that I'm just probably not good enough. Seriously. So what do you do with that?
Yeah.
I was lost for a little while until that friend said, you should probably, when I was at Nick doing PA work, said, you should probably, just write a script. And I was like, just the thought of writing, I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I really didn't understand the concept of that. But I'm so glad that happened because writing is I think as big a passion for me as acting. I
Yeah.
love writing. I wish I were better at it. I'm trying to be better at it. I know I won an
Yeah.
Emmy, but that was like it was a special set of circumstances with a special project with some special people. I think that happened. I
Sure,
really don't want
sure.
to believe that was just like a miracle. I swear to God. But it fueled me to
Mhm.
even that, winning that last year made me want to like, no, I got some serious stories. I'm in different stages with some different things where I really want to make my mark, so to speak, in putting out stories and creating things
Mhm.
either with other partners or myself. Like, so what good came out of these dark, low places was that I kind of morphed. I said, what can I use from this failure, quote unquote failure, to then fuel me into
Yeah.
some new pursuit that I didn't know I had? And writing was one and acting was another.
I love that so much. And it's also you're so good at both that I'm like thinking to myself, now I need to see these drawings, because I'm like, if you think you're not quite there with acting and writing, and you thought the same of drawings, I'm like, I'm gonna need to see proof.
I wish I had some handy. I don't think I'm bad. It's just like some of these
Yeah,
guys were like world class artists, like drawing with
totally.
two hands or like doing like
That's
figures and
crazy.
whatnot. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's insane. That's like a magic trick that I'll
Yeah.
never be able to do. I guess I'm pretty good, but I'm slow. And that's the thing is like I didn't realize, art the meeting of
Hmm.
art and commerce
Hmm.
can make your passion turn into work. I
Yeah.
saw the storyboard artists at Disney. These guys had magnets on their hands and wrists from just like carpal
Whoa.
tunnel, and then like these sleeves on, for their hands and whatnot. And they would just be complaining about the work of these sequences they have to redraw. And I was like, oh my God, you guys sound like the job I just quit, pushing pencils somewhere else. It's like, it's
Yeah.
the same shit unless you love it. So it was teaching me too that, it's okay that maybe you're not meant for this, because what you are meant for, one, is coming, and it won't feel like work once you get there. Because
Yeah.
for those guys were like amazing, yet they were miserable, like
Yeah.
miserable. I didn't want to be miserable.
Yeah, I think that once it is interesting to see people in different creative fields that just kind of hate it, but they're skilled, and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that feeling. That seems so awful, because I get,
Well,
even when things are tough, I get so much joy out of this.
oh yeah,
You
I had my
know?
writing mentor. He was amazing. He passed away, but I love Bill. Bill Idelson was his name. Bill told me they're going to be writers that are going to be way more skilled than you ever be,
Mhm.
and they're going to be other writers that are going to have way more connections and be in the mix more than you'll ever be. You want
Mhm.
to be somewhere in between, because some of the writers that are just like way better than you ever be, a lot of those people will never get as far as you will, because they don't have that skill of networking. Or some of the
Yeah.
people who network and get all the freaking places, their careers won't necessarily last or sustain, because network isn't all it takes. It also takes skill. So try to find that balance between putting yourself out there, having social skills, and having the talent to back it up is a big
Yeah.
deal. The high standards they had at Second City helped fuel me. Josh Funk said, I want for you what happened to me, which was that you're so good that Second City came looking for him. He was putting up his own shows in Detroit, and they came
Uh-huh.
looking for him. So after the directing program at Second City, that's what happened for me. I was putting up my own shows. People were hiring me to direct, and Second City said, we want you to come teach here. We want you to direct shows here, that kind of thing, whatever. So I
Yeah.
was trying to, like, it's as terrible as I thought I was at the time. I felt like because
Mhm.
they had high standards, my instructors had high standards, I was shooting further than maybe other people were. I even tell
Yeah.
my students to this day, like, no one's going to tell you to make a bold choice. Now, but if you make one and it's too far, we can always pull you back. But we're not going to like
Uh-huh.
light that fire. We'll just say thank you next kind of thing. So it's
Yeah.
up to you to make these bold choices, these fall on your face kind of ideas about what this thing is. But having those high standards at Second City helped me to say, I need to churn out good material. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I'll suck for a while, no problem. But at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, I want to keep my standards high. That way I can always be pushing myself. Like, even every time I write
Yeah.
something, every piece, I'm like, I need to be better than this last piece. I have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel that, and I'm really also thankful for that background at Second City. Not to be like, again, sometimes it feels corny to say stuff like that, but
Mhm.
their whole like just like really pounding it into your brain of like, play to the top of your intelligence. I
Yeah.
think that I mean it for sure. I think of a lot of Second City's, like, I guess, rules or guidelines is a better
Mhm.
word, when I'm doing stand up, where I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I could
Mhm.
make this joke here. But so could somebody passing me in the hallway after a
Mhm.
show being like, oh, I got a joke for you,
Right, right.
so it's like my standard for myself now has become like, I want to, I'm like, if like my family is also very funny, and I'm like, if somebody in my family could write this joke, then I can't I'm not putting it on
I love
paper.
that. I love that. Yeah.
You know,
That's a really good thing.
because it's like,
you
I
keep
think,
yourself.
yeah, we're professionals. So it's like
Right.
my standard should be higher than somebody who's never stood on stage before.
Love that. No, that's really good. Yeah, I'm going to take that on too. I like the sound of that. I'm just, again, anywhere I can get it. Things that fuel me, they always feel like mantras. Sometimes I repeat things to myself. But just like trying to, because I'm such a fan of awesome things. So I'm always like, oh man, how'd they do that? I want to be that, not necessarily for someone else, just for me. I want to be a fan of me one day. And I'm not quite there, you know. But high standards. I love good stuff. Like it took me a while with acting to not fan out on people that I work with. You can't do that because then they'll always look at you a certain way, keep you at arm's length because you get that all the time. So I wait till the project's over and then I totally fan out. Like I tell Tony Hale after we shot the scene, oh my God, I love you. You're the best one. Yeah. and then they're more appreciative because they saw you as a person, as a fellow actor, that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
I just did, I did a punch up on a holiday movie parody that's coming out, written by Annika Steyer and Rachel Dratch. And I wanted to fucking fan out. You have no idea. You have no idea how much I wanted to fan out on that shit.
And you're just like, we're cool. We're buds. Cool.
Everything's great. Like when I teach sketch to this day, I still use, scenes with Dratch in it. But we're just shooting the shit. They got to treat me as a person. I was hopefully contributing some stuff that they'll find useful and use. And everyone in the room was really brilliant and funny, and I loved them all, and I want to be closer to them because they were so great. But as soon as I hung up that call, I was like, oh my God, Annika Steyer, because Annika Steyer is one of those people that when she was on SNL and coming off it, I thought she should have been huge, way bigger than she's so funny and awesome. And same with Dratch, especially after
Rachel Dratch is my all-time favorite.
Right? Like
I cannot handle her.
She is like, I knew her from Second City before I knew her. I know her from SNL before I knew her from Second City, which is a cardinal sin. But it's just like, I was not from Chicago. I didn't know. And then once I started studying the archive material from her from Second City, I was like, oh my God. She was amazing. Like people weren't coming to Second City to see Tina Fey and fucking Scott Adsit and other folks like her peers. They were coming to see Dratch because her characters were so dope. She was so dope. But she was just like, oh, I wanted to fan out. But no, we were just shooting the shit, being friends. They wrote a really fucking funny movie. I can't wait to see it. So it's, having high standards like makes you want to. I want to be like Amy Sedaris.
Yeah.
Every time I watch Amy Sedaris in an interview on a late night talk show, whatever, wherever Amy is, it looks like she's just in her living room, just, talking amongst friends or, it's just, she's so relaxed.
She's so comfortable everywhere. And she's so like, she's somebody that I'm like, I want that career because it seems like the industry is bending to meet her where she's at versus the other way around. She's not like, okay, well, I guess if you want me to do this
she didn't fall into any cubbyhole. She carved out her own niche, which I think is brilliant. People only do that in friggin' office jobs. Nobody does that, as a performer. So I'm always looking for that. So my version of that with Anna and Rachel was just me chilling. They probably thought I was the coolest cat on the world, and inside I'm going, you're so awesome. So I'll get there eventually where it'll be true, where I actually feel relaxed. But I find myself more and more in situations where I am around people that I admire their work or whatever. I'm fanning out less and more trying to just bring my work standards up to their work standards, because that's another thing I found that as I work with more people that I admire or that are so-called celebrities, they have not only high standards of what they put out and but their work ethic. Their work ethic is off the fucking charts.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I see why you're here. This all makes sense.
Exactly. So every time I want to get lazy and phone it in or half-ass do some shit, I'm like, would this person do that? Yeah. Did they get to they were kind of half-assing it? Not really.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I know we talked earlier about like you having seen like starting to see people like Mary Beth Monroe and like other people you had worked with at Second City on commercials. I know you did the Mindy Project and Dan Backetall was on.
Yeah.
When I was on Jim Jeffries' show, Dan was my improv coach a million years ago. And then when I was on Jim Jeffries' show, I got to write a sketch for him and have him on the show.
Oh,
like, isn't that the most satisfying feeling where it feels like, oh, this person that I worked with in this little theater for $0.
Like we used to be like, right? A win for us was when we didn't have to pay to play, right? And now we didn't pay. We're like, what?
Yeah.
That's the, like, first of all, I'm jealous that you got to write a sketch for Dan Beckett.
Oh God, it was so fun. It was
awesome.
when they're like, we're gonna bring Dan on for like one of the last episodes, it's like, please let me write for him, please. I was like, you don't he also like helped me get the, I think he helped me get the job, because after I interviewed, he texted Jim, who he had worked with at on FX, and was like, hey, Lisa's cool, she's not going to shit her pants in the room. So
Dan is one of the most genuine human beings I've met in this industry. Like when I was on that day I had on the Mindy project, that was one of my first co-stars too. And Dan, I didn't know he was guesting at the time, so it was like amazing to see him. He pulls me to the side, we take pictures and everything, and Dan is like, hey man. And he's always giving me advice. He gave me advice when I was about to do the ships. He was like, never have them waiting for you at rehearsal. Always be waiting on them. I was like, cool. Of course, I was late my first day, but so what? But he told me on Mini Project, he was like, hey, man, when we come in these co-star, guest star roles or whatever, you got to treat it like you're an invited guest in someone's home. And I do that to this day. Like, I don't care what they do or say to me, how bad or good they treat me. I, bring my own manners to it being, I'm an invited guest. And Dan was just gracious. Everyone else was kind of doing their thing. They see a million day players all the time, so I'm not trying to friend everyone, that kind of thing. But Dan and Chris Messina that day were amazing. Like, Dan is just awesome. Hell yeah.
It's also like, that is such great advice, I think, in any scenario, really, because we all know people that are good and they're assholes. And it's like, if there's two people that are equally good and one of them's an asshole, guess who's not getting booked? The asshole. It's like, because why? Because again, we're making all this up. We're all doing this for the purpose of just having fun. So we don't lose time for that. I tell
students all the time, I was like, good gets you in the door. Like, you wouldn't even be part of the conversation if you weren't good. So don't think that it's about who's, the better actor or performer or creator or writer, because you wouldn't even make it to this level to be considered unless you were good. So it's not about that. It really starts to become about, what kind of person do I want to be around for long periods of time?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do good work. I always tell the students, do good work and play nice. Because that playing nice has led me to so many different things. People are like, I'll be like, how did I get this here? They'll be like, oh, such and such recommended you. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're like, who?
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, great.
All right. Yeah. I was going to ask you also, of course, you had a very big commercial last year.
Yeah,
this year.
It was game changing.
I don't know what year it is anymore. I'm sorry.
It came out this year,
when was
2021.
It 1996? Yeah, it was 2021.
It was this past February. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate Gaffney and I were talking about you recently, and we were like, oh my God, all this stuff is happening with Dwayne. And it's just like, it's very exciting for everyone, because you're great and you've always been nice to everyone. And it's so satisfying to see good people succeeding.
That's the feeling I have when I see good people. I'm like, fuck yeah! Just like, this just makes my soul glow. It just feels so good. But it was quite like, I didn't book any work last year during the pandemic. I just didn't. I had a commercial that was already running at the beginning, so I had some money coming from acting, but I didn't book any new work other than like a couple of Fox NFL bits. I've been doing those for the past 5 years or so, like that. I just got good friends at Fox. Shout out to Jason Palmer. So I didn't get really a lot of acting work that year. So I was like, well, maybe this is it for acting. This is it for me. I'm okay with that. For some reason, I was literally like, at the end, it was like in December. I was like, I'm just okay with it. Maybe I'll just rely on writing. And then I got the breakdown for that commercial. And I was like, this feels like a big fucking deal. They wouldn't tell you who the celebrity was. So I was like, it's either The Rock or it's Michael B. Jordan by the way it's written. And I bet it's a Super Bowl commercial, but they wouldn't say. So I didn't know who it was.
So you only knew it was Amazon?
I only knew it was Amazon. I didn't know it was Michael B. Jordan until the day of the shoot.
Yeah.
That's right. And then I didn't know it was a Super Bowl until we wrapped. And then someone told me it was a Super Bowl commercial. But I knew going in, I was like, this is a big deal. So I told myself, I'm going to make this motherfucker break every take. Every take he's going to laugh and ruin the take, because that's my goal in life, is to make him laugh.
Love it.
And by the end, like by the last scene we were in, he was like, hold on. He'd have to tell the director, wait, and look away, because he was going to bust up laughing before we even did it. Like I had an earwig and they would feed me lines sometimes. And we all had earwigs in. Me, Mike B, and Brianna Price, who was the lead woman in the thing.
She's so good too. You're all so good.
Brianna is going to be huge. But we all had earwigs in, and they would feed me lines, and then I would say the line, and then Mike B would break. So Mike was like, I even knew it was coming and I still laughed. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say this all the time. I'm like, yeah, that's right, bro. You don't know about this improv training. I'm coming with bangers. So it was everything I was hoped it would be.
Yeah.
It literally was everything I hoped it would be. It was like,
I love that so much. It's such a good commercial for anyone listening. If you're not familiar, there's an Amazon Alexa commercial.
Yes,
you have to check out.
This 2021 Super Bowl is called Alexa's New Body. You can find it on YouTube. It's when Michael B. Jordan becomes an Alexa machine through the fantasy of this woman thinking about it, and her husband goes nuts. I never read the comments, Lisa, on any kind of commercial I did, because one of the first national commercials I did was a car commercial. I looked up on one of the comments on YouTube because I was just like happy. And the first comment said, "Monkeys don't drive." I was like, oh God, the racism. Oh my God. So I just never, just as a rule.
And you're like, is this the guy from the audience at the boat? What the fuck?
Exactly. It must be him. How's he following me? But that gave me the idea, like, just never read the comments. Why bother? But for some reason with this Alexa one, I was like, oh, let me just take a peek. And my God, it was just like nothing but people saying, but can we talk about the husband though? But the husband though. And I played the husband in this. And I was killing it. So I was like, oh my God, this is Michael. Do you remember Michael Bowman? Michael Bowman's calling me right now.
Yeah.
I can't do it right now, buddy.
Yeah.
Call you later.
I laughed out loud at the part where the whole thing is funny, but when you're like outside around the fire with your boys and then she orders something, you're like, no, don't.
Yeah, he took off his shirt. So I'm like trying to push past.
Yeah,
that was a note from the director, Wayne McCambie, about, like, he said, well, try to get, like, kind of put them in your way a little bit. So you try to get past those guys. Because I guess it was an added physical layer of frustration, which I really enjoyed once I saw it. Because in the moment I was like, what's he talking about? I got to push past. All right. But the first day of that shoot, I was like, oh man, they're just feeding me lines. They're not letting me improvise. That's where I shine. This is all bullshit. You know, Brianna and Mike B feel like they had like their own little, secrets with each other. Nobody's really talking to me. This is bullshit. I was hating it, right? The next day, though, they were like, let me improvise, let me go. And like even the ad people were coming up to me, the friggin' there's ad, and then the production company people were coming up to me. Everyone was coming up to me going, oh my God, Dwayne. Oh my God, this. I was like, what is happening? So it was like already while we were on the shoot, I knew this was different. I just knew this was different. And the biggest thing that no one knows, and this never happens in commercials anymore, is that they let me keep all the clothes. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I get to keep all this? When? But literally, I like that commercial changed everything. It was like I signed with the management company I'd always been wanting to sign with. Been going on the kind of roles I've been wanting to get, kind of thing. I was like, okay, this is like literally, it fucking moved the needle, in a way that I just couldn't break through before,
I love it.
Like the manager, I hope he doesn't listen to this, but my current manager at 3 Arts, I love Zach. He's amazing. I had already interviewed with him. I had already sent him all my stuff. I'd already interviewed with him and they passed. I was like, no problem, moving on, whatever. Bro, after that commercial, like that shit never happened. It was just like,
oh yeah.
it was like,
like, those are always, I feel like those can be the most satisfying. I just booked a big gig where they had passed on me initially and I just ignored that. And then I resubmitted after I got a few more credits and they're like, we love your stuff. And I'm like, I literally sent you the same video, but okay, guys,
right. No worries. It's all good. I get it. Sometimes it just
but it's like, whatever.
The weather, whatever it is. I don't know.
Maybe you didn't, maybe you like meant to reply to me and you didn't because you just got busy and I understand,
we all have been, quarantine for a while. So as I started to maybe a few weeks ago, venture out a little bit more as things open up and I'm meeting friends or whatever, all anyone can talk to about, because we haven't seen each other in a while, I was like, hey bro, that commercial though, hey bro. And I had already gotten like a call from every person who had my number that day already. So I thought that was like the end of it, as far as, but like everywhere I go, people are like, yeah, but that commercial though, bro. I'm like, yeah, that was a good one. I'm not gonna like downplay it. That was freaking awesome. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. One last question for you before we go. What if your child self, like 11-year-old Dwayne, could see you now? What do you think? Like if he met you, what do you think he would think?
What he would think? I think he would be amazed. My aspirations were so small. Like
I literally want to just do simple math.
I really did. But like my when I told you I started to pursue acting, I got with this guy. We did one-on-ones for a while. He's now one of my best friends. But I remember Gabe telling me, your goals need to be so lofty that when you say them out loud, you're a little embarrassed. People might even laugh at you. They're so lofty. So, but I went through that with him. I could look at my book now, like half of those goals I've already achieved. I'm at the point where I literally need to make loftier goals. I'm like, oh shit, that's how I go. You fucking ask for it, put it in the universe, and you start pursuing it, through yourself unconsciously. You'll get there. That's the only way is to speak it. Like that's the shows that I put on, those were in there. The awards I won, those were in. I was like, how did that? What? I had forgotten about some of those goals. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the 11-year-old me he wouldn't believe it. He wouldn't believe it because I can't believe it.
I love it so much. Well, thank you so much, Dwayne. It was so good to
Thank
see you
you,
and talk
Lisa.
to you
It
and
was so great to see you too.
hear your
And talk to
story.
you.
All right.
Keep
I'll
doing
talk to you
this.
soon.
Love it.
Yes. All right.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much for listening. Once again, that was Dwayne Colbert. You can find him on Twitter at Just Like Steven and on Instagram at dcolbert01. And I'm Lisa Curry. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa_Curry and on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry. If you're enjoying the show, please like, subscribe, tell a friend, rent a billboard in a busy metropolitan area. You know what to do. We'll see you next week. Bye.